So have you heard about the 40-year-old Homebuying Virgin? We're going to talk about that today, along with a lot of different other features about first-time buyers and buyers in general. So my name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker here at Max One Realtor Partners.
My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And so we're going to be talking about what do buyers look like today? What are the different attributes that buyers have? And how can we service today's buyers and do a better job as a real estate professional?
To understand them, really, if you have to think about it, is what makes them this late in life to purchase a home. And typically, that is part of that is that they're getting married a much later in life, and that the trend, the social anymore now is after you get out of college, you kind of play a little bit, and so a lot of folks are not getting married until much later in life, and therefore it seems like marriage is one of the tools that people utilize to buy a home because they're looking at nesting, they're looking at stabilizing their environment. And unfortunately, a lot of us are not getting married until much later, and therefore they become the 40-year-old virgin home buyer.
Well, I mean, right now the median age of first time buyers is 38 years old. That's the oldest that it's ever been. I mean, period. We've not seen first time buyers waiting this late in life, which 14 years after college is when
It's a long time.
I mean that really is a kind of a long time. And so, but what we're seeing is that our first time buyers are the average first time buyer is 38, which is I mean, back in our days, it was in the 20s, right? Back in our day, yeah, that kind of stuff. Now, what's interesting is that we really do have two separate buyer segments. We have first-time buyers, and then we have repeat buyers. And honestly, both are much older than in the past. Right now, our first-time buyer, again, is 38, but our repeat buyer, 61.
That's quite up there.
Well, it is, but you have to also look at what's happening in the buying segment right now. Like one of the biggest sectors that is buying is our boomers. And our boomers, they don't really much care about what's happening with interest rates in a lot of cases.
That's because they have asset in their home and they can sell their home and buy it for cash.
Yeah. So we're seeing where almost 40% of property owners don't have a mortgage at all. And the vast majority of those are boomers or seniors. And so they're not worried about interest rates, those kind of things. And that this is a very good market for them right now. So we are seeing where our repeat buyer age is also 61. They used to be in the 40s. And our first time buyer at 38, they used to be in the 20s. So folks are waiting till later in life. And that's not really necessarily a bad thing. But one thing that we do see concern with is how many first-time buyers are actually in the market. It's the lowest that it's
been in ages. So there's approximately 24% decrease in first.
No, 24% total first-time buyers. That's way less than what we've seen in the past. At one point, it was 50%. We're talking about less than half of the number of first-time buyers in our market. So we got to realize that. But does that mean you think that buyers are going away?
No, they're not, because at some point, everybody wants that home. Everybody wants something they call their own. And and there's so much pent-up demand right now, just because, if you look at what's happening over the last 6 or 7 years, pandemic really create a inflationary rate of the home value. And even though the pay has gotten a little bit better, but I don't think the salary has matched exactly the appreciation of the home and so therefore people are actually saving up.
But when you add in the interest rates that folks have been saying, but a lot of that has been easing up, and that's the thing that we're really trying to highlight for you here is that we aren't seeing prices appreciating at nearly the rate that they were. We are seeing where interest rates, while never going to get back to threes and that kind of I just don't see that happening, but they are much better than they were at 8. So we're right now we're in the low 6s, we're in the high fives if you're on one of the government loans, FHAs are running, 5.8, 5.9 in that range. So when you put that all in there, we really do have a lot of pent up demand because even though first time buyers this past year made up the smallest percentage of buyers ever, that doesn't mean that first time buyers are going
They're
away.
not. They're just waiting for the opportunity, the right time, with the right budget and the right house for them.
Yeah. Now, some other interesting attributes about our buyers. 75%, I'm sorry, 73% of recent buyers had no children under the age of 18 in their home. That's another one that in the past was that number was really, really low. This is the highest percentage of folks with no children at home
So
ever.
if you look at it, home is where you raise your children. So therefore, when you have no children under 18, it's not uncommon to think that, people are not serious about buying a home.
Yeah. Now, the homes that they are buying, one thing that there is a new trend, maybe new is
Not
the wrong
trend,
way.
but as the Americans are aging, most of us are aging every day.
Well, hopefully, otherwise
Yes,
it's
the
bad.
alternative's not good.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but anyways, there's becoming more and more multi-generation homes. So you have seen a lot of homes where the primary level is for the family, and the lower level with a driveway access is for the
Maybe the
parents.
grandparents, the
Right.
parents, that kind of stuff. So, we see this. A lot of folks are moving towards multi generational. First, to take advantage of the cost savings.
Correct.
The second is to take care of aging parents. And then the other one is for the folks moving back home that aren't really ready to jump out on their own
Well,
quite
they're
yet.
not committed yet.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Now, right now, about 16% of all of our buyers are veterans and 2% are active duty. We only point that out just because we feel that's a segment that sometimes becomes underserved in our marketplace.
being a Navy,
Almost 20% of a market is no small thing. So,
no, and being a ex-military family member, I remember my dad moved around quite a bit when I was younger. So it's hard for the military to think about buying when they have a set of order in about 4 years.
yeah. Now, the number one reason why people want to own a home is just because they want to own a home. Like there's just this desire to own your own home, and we see this year after year where we keep asking consumers, why do you want a home? Because I want it. Because I want a place where I can sit in my own underwear and just hang out and do whatever kind of
Really?
thing. Well, but I mean, it's this
Well,
just natural desire. Now, for first time buyers, that's even. I mean, like 65%, 2/3 of the number one reason why first time buyers want to own a home is because they want to own a home. That's just the most, and the reason I want to point that out, that's a really good talking point. If you want to help attract yourself to buyers, to first time buyers, talk about the desire of owning a home,
well,
the
not just the
pleasure,
desire, the benefit.
yeah.
You're not having to stress out every year after year to have to relocate and go to another place, and if you do have children, they're moving to a different school. I mean, that's is in itself is stressful.
Yeah. Now, the median distance where someone sold and then moved to is now at 20 miles. Now, historically, especially here in Georgia, that's been like 15 miles. So it has gotten back to a much smaller range. When COVID first hit, like it was 100 miles. We wanted to get the heck out of Dodge. We wanted to live away from everybody. And the reason I'm pointing that out is well, for a couple of reasons. One is you needed to build very good referral networks. I'm not saying you shouldn't have referral networks, but now our core is getting back to being much more local. Now, if your average buyer moves is 20 miles, chances are that's a marketplace where you can both help them sell and buy in. And so, like that's kind of consolidating a little bit. We're seeing where that shift where people were trying to get away from people kind of thing. And they're like, oh, okay, I like my neighbor's
And
house.
as a realtor, we drive all over the place. 20 mile is nothing.
Well, really, it's a 40-mile radius, though, because it's 20 miles that way and 20 miles this way. So, but still, that's nothing undoable. When it was 100 miles, I'm not going 100 miles that way and 100 miles that way. It was really, really different, right?
Yeah.
Now,
So about 86% realtor buyer utilize our service. So, buyer do want to be knowledgeable in what they're doing. They do want information so they can make well-educated decisions based on their financial needs.
More people are using us now than have ever used us. And sometimes folks find that surprising, but like I don't. Yes, our roles have changed. We used to be the brokers of information,
Correct.
right? We used to be the people where if you want to know how much a home was worth or you want to know what was inventory on the market, well, you just called us. And now what do? You go online, right? Because if it's online, it's true. Wrong.
Of course.
But so our roles have changed. Trusted advisor, friend, guide, that kind of stuff. But we are more utilized now than ever before. Now, our buyers are typically searching for 10 weeks. And please, if you don't take anything else from what we're talking about here, get this. You've got 10 weeks to find someone a home. You got 2.5 months to get somebody from I want to buy to closing on their home. If you can't do that, they're going to fire you. And I don't mean that to be mean. We just see a lot of times that especially buyer's agents take buyers passively. And if you treat your buyers passively, they'll find someone that won't.
Well, the thing is, too, after each showing, get some feedback from them. Get to know them. Get to know what their taste is like. Get to know what they're looking for. And so when the unicorn pops up that fits their taste, you're all over it. So, once again, it is important to have a dialogue because when you don't have a dialogue, the buyer feel like they're not being listened to, they're not being cared for, and you don't really mean what you say.
Well, the other thing here is that we see sometimes where buyer's agents, oh, okay, you want to buy a home. Okay, let me know when you want to go look at houses. Let me know when you find something interesting. Let me know. Instead of, hey, I found some great houses for you to look at. Are you available this weekend? I sent you a list of, here's a text with properties for us to go look at. Setting up your buyer appointments well in advance, getting your buyer brokerage assigned. All these are really important steps. Getting them with a mortgage lender right away. Being very intensive about what you're working with your buyer. And you're going to have a lot of buyers that actually close with you. But we just see where a lot of times, oh, you want to buy? All right, let me know when. That is a recipe for failure.
The lackadaisical way of doing business and basically be there when they call you versus follow up, having the touches and having just the feedback. And sometimes they are busy because life happens.
Yeah.
So, keep up with them. That is part of your job to know what is it that their needs and wants are in their timeline because those are to them urgent and sensitive.
Yeah. Now, your average buyer right now is looking at 7 houses before they end up closing on one. 2 of those houses they're looking at online. So realistically, the average buyer views 5 homes in person before they actually close on one. That should be your benchmark. Like if you're having to show more than 5 houses to a buyer, then maybe you're not doing that great a job on helping them select the properties to go and look at. If you're less than that, well, maybe you're doing a better job than the industry, and hopefully you are, that kind of stuff. Overall, 59% of buyers reported being very satisfied. And we find that discouraging as all get out. Because when you poll people, you're either very satisfied or you're not. And some folks will say, well, 30-something% were somewhat satisfied. That don't count. 59% of recent buyers were very satisfied. That means 41% of recent buyers were not very satisfied. And that to me says, look, we have a lot of room to improve. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of places where we can be doing a lot better at our job, at supporting our clients, at presenting buyers, that kind of stuff.
And this is nothing negative. This is just for a
These
constructive
is facts,
criticism.
folks.
Well, these are
Yep.
constructive criticisms. So learn from what you did in a prior engagement and improve on it, because that's what's going to make you so great. And also, as well as obtain that 51% that was very happy, that will give you referrals.
Now, let's talk about, like, there's an elephant in the room here. So, home buyers, when granted, we just said 59% are very satisfied. What do they want from us? The number one thing that buyers want from us is find me a home. Right at 50%, that's the number one, hands down. There's not even anything close. Negotiating terms is number two at like 15%. So the number one thing that they want from us.
Find them a house.
But a lot of times, and not just a lot of times, if you poll those same buyers, something like 75% of them found their house themselves. So when you put those numbers together, it kind of starts to make sense. And so you, as a buyer's agent, you want to come across as being an amazing buyer agent, send properties to your buyers, right? Share properties, find properties that meet their search requirements. Find them homes. If you will just find your buyers homes, they're going to think that you hung the moon. It's the number one thing that they want from you.
Well, and this business is about finding them home.
Yep. Now, for those folks, they, like where did those folks find their agent? Number one, through friend referrals, that kind of stuff. Referrals and past clients, that kind of stuff is the number one way where folks found their buyer's agent. Now, also, the vast majority of agents or of buyers only interviewed one agent. So, like 77% of buyers only interviewed one agent. So what does that mean for you as the real estate agent? Be first, right? I'm just saying, like right. if you show up and you're first, chances are you've got like a 3 out of 4 chance that this is going to be a client that you can work with. And that's why we'll go anywhere to meet a buyer, to meet clients, that kind of stuff, because most of the time, and you're mine until you buy or die, kind of thing. So it works out really good. So like even though all those numbers in there, one thing that we do find troubling is, would you use your real estate agent to buy again or recommend them out?
Only 73% said they would. So the other 27% said, not really.
Probably not. No. So, how are you going to build a business where 25% of your clients or 27% of your clients wouldn't use you again? That is a recipe for failure. That is how you don't survive and thrive in this business. This is something that we as an industry really need to address. But remember, they want us to find the homes. Excuse me. Now, when it comes to like financing a home, right? So some of the things in the finance world have tweaked a little bit, kind of thing. So we are seeing where less people are financing home, largely because of our boomer buyers. They don't care about financing. So we have more all cash buyers. These aren't investors. These are boomers that are carrying forward tons of equity, kind of thing. So while you may see, number of cash buyers are up, yes, but it's not the investors that you're fighting with or competing with here. The number one place where folks are getting their money for their down payments, that kind of stuff, is all coming from savings, that kind of stuff. Conventional loans are one of the smaller segments that we've seen of past years. Right now, conventional loans are 52%. That used to be in the 60s and 70s. Right now, almost 30% are FHA.
Partially is because FHA has much better incentive when it comes to PMI interest rates. So being a conventional, you actually kind of get a little bit penalized when you compare the PMI rates.
Well, and we also have right now where FHA is running half a point to 3/4 a point under.
They're more aggressive in their rate. Like
roughly half. So like we are seeing right now interest rates in the low 6s. We're seeing for conventional. We are seeing government loans, FHA loans, 5.8, 5.9, that range kind of thing. So there is also that advantage there, kind of thing. Now, when it comes to our buyers and our sellers, honestly, and recommending us. You know, like for our sellers in particular, 66% of them chose their agent because of a referral or past clients. 2 out of 3. We want to highlight this because this is where your database is so valuable to you, right? There's lots of things, there's all these lead systems and all these different things out there in our industry, and everyone has their hand in their pocket trying to send you leads and that kind of stuff. But really, realistically, at the end of the day, 2/3 of your sellers chose their agent because of referrals and past clients.
Correct.
So if you just build your business around referrals and past clients, you're going to take the lion's share of the business out there. Even more sellers only interviewed one agent. 81% of sellers only interviewed one agent. So again, be first on there kind of thing. And about half the time, they use the same agent that they used to buy the home with to sell the home. So should you be keeping up with past clients?
Absolutely.
Yes or yes, right? You got me. Now, for the homes being bought out there, 85% of buyers are currently buying a previously
Resale.
15%, though, are buying a new home.
Well, the inventory's there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the inventory is there, and then they also like folks who are looking to buy new construction. They want to avoid renovations. They want to make sure that the house is bright and they want to be the only person who slept there.
They like the new design. They like the openness. So, with new homes, there's certain design that appeals to certain lifestyles. So, a lot of folks enjoy that.
Yeah, and I guess that's one thing we want to kind of wrap with here, and that is, you know what, new homes are a big segment in our market right now. New home sales were up 20% last month, a 3-year high. New home sales, like
in August,
it jumped. I mean, it was kind of like kind of moving back and forth, and all of a sudden, boom! It really started to kind of take off. And
well,
so
the builders getting great incentives too.
Well, that's the thing. Now, part of this deal here is that, like here in the South, we lead the nation in overall new construction inventory. Now, other places in the U.S., yeah, they're building, but here in the South, we are building. Okay, so we have inventory, and so like that inventory is a big deal. Now, our builders also they're kind of sweetening the pot a little bit. They throw in a little bit of love our way, which we really appreciate.
I mean, in the past, appliances such as refrigerator and also washer and dryer and blinds are additional. Yeah. So now they're kind of throwing all that stuff in there. So why are they being so helpful?
Well, it's because I want to say they're being so helpful because they just care and they love us. But let's be honest. Why are they helpful? Because their inventory is up. New construction inventory, number of unsold completed homes, that has shot up, right? And so when they're sitting on a lot of inventory, see the builders, they're like the minute that they finish a home, they got to start paying on that house.
The interest on the bank.
So like they have to move inventory, and so now that we're seeing new construction, and granted, don't get me wrong, we've seen higher inventory across the entire industry, right? We're up about 20% more in inventory this year versus last year, but our builders are also up even more. And so even though we've seen higher days on market for resales, we've seen longer, almost 5 months of standing inventory on resale, we're seeing 10 months of standing inventory in new construction,
which is huge.
Yeah. So if you look all that together, what we're seeing is this trend, and even like D.R. Horton just in their recent earnings report, they talked about that they're looking to offer higher incentives. This is a win for the buyers, and for you as a buyer's agent, you can be the hero, right? So we're seeing slightly bigger incentives, more opportunities where they're going to buy down rates. They're throwing in the upgraded appliances. They're throwing in, like we're seeing all kinds of weird things that they're throwing in too. Yeah.
Sometime, if you're lucky, they'll throw in the premium lots that the house is built on.
Yeah, and so, but now please understand that if you want to find a deal, it's always going to be on standing inventory.
Yeah.
You're never going to get a deal. Builders not going to cut a deal on something that they have to turn around and build. Now, if it's already come out of the ground and it's sitting there, that's your best
Absolutely.
opportunity to be able to help somebody
And
out.
there's nothing wrong with this home. Just, like I said, buyer has been waiting for a long time to buy the right house because the savings and also interest rate, what have you. So, it's there's a lot of pent up demand. They're just now getting to the point where they got enough money, if not enough credit, to purchase a home.
So to kind of wrap this whole thing up, we see that today's buyers are a little bit different. And there's a lot of things that we can be doing to help represent them, understanding who they are. They're a little bit older, yes. They're looking for some different things from their clients. We feel that new construction is a great opportunity. So please jump out there and take advantage of this.
Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
Bye bye.
Have a good day.